If you're managing TLS certificates, you have seen the numbers everywhere. 200 days, 100 days, 47 days. But what if I told you that building your automation around those numbers is a huge mistake? That you'd be building your entire system on a myth? Well, let's break down what's really going on.
So here it is, the core of the whole issue. On one hand, you've got the official ballot docs and all the marketing that says 200 days. But on the other hand, in the real world, the maximum certificate you can actually get is 199 days. It's a tiny difference, just one day. But trust me, it has some pretty big consequences.
And hey, this isn't just my opinion. This comes straight from the experts. On the Root Causes podcast, Tim Callan from Sectigo put it bluntly. He said, all those numbers are wrong. The numbers we're all repeating are not the numbers you'll actually be working with.
So why? Where does this missing day go? Well, the first reason is a subtle but absolutely critical problem that we can call the midnight off-by-one issue. To get this, you have to understand a word that strikes fear into the heart of every certificate authority: misissuance. The rules for CAs are precise. I mean, down to the second. If a certificate is valid for even 1 single second longer than the maximum allowed time, it's a violation. The CA has to revoke it. It is a very, very big deal. Now here's where it gets interesting. The rules, which are written by humans, talk in terms of days. But the technology, the certificates themselves, they don't care about days. They operate on exact timestamps, hours, minutes, and seconds. And that's where the trouble really starts. Think about it like this. Let's say you request a certificate at the very last minute of the day on January 1st. If the CA makes it expire exactly 200 days later, the certificate's actual lifespan is a little bit more than 200 days. A CA has absolutely no control over what time of day you decide to request a cert. So here's the bottom line. 200 days plus even 1 extra minute is a misissuance. It's a compliance failure, and any CA that lets that happen is in for a world of hurt, including having to find and revoke all of those certificates. So what's the solution? Well, it's simple, and it's universal across all CAs. They just subtract 1 full day. By only issuing 199 days certificates, they create a safety buffer. They guarantee that no matter what time it's issued, it can never, ever accidentally break that 200-day ceiling.
But wait, it gets even more complicated. That 1-day deduction? It's not the whole story, especially when we start talking about reusing your domain control validation, or DCV.
Now, if you're following the logic, you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. The DCV reuse period must also be 199 days. Makes perfect sense, right?
Nope. It's actually 198 days. We lose a second day. Let's dig into why this pre-certificate tax exists.
You see, getting a certificate isn't just a single, instant event. First, a CA has to create what's called a pre-certificate and log it publicly. The key here is that there can be a delay, up to a full 24 hours between that first step and when your final certificate is actually issued. And here's the nightmare scenario that CAs have to plan for. Your DCV reuse clock starts ticking the second you validate your domain. What if that pre-certificate gets created on day 199, right at the edge of the window, but the final cert doesn't get issued for another 24 hours? That means it would be issued on day 200, outside the valid window. To stop that from ever happening, they have to subtract yet another day. So these are the real numbers, the numbers you need to program into your automation. A 200-day DCV reuse period is operationally 198 days. 100 days becomes 98, and that future 10-day window, it's really only going to be 8 days. This is absolutely critical for your planning.
Okay, so now we get to the big so what. Why does any of this really matter? Because these little off-by-one errors aren't just trivia. They can silently creep into your systems and completely break your automation over time.
If you're an infrastructure manager, this one's for you. I want you to think about your renewal scripts right now. Are you calculating your renewal windows based on the number 200? Because if you are, your entire system has a 1-day error baked in from the very beginning. This table shows the danger perfectly. Let's say your script thinks it's renewing with a 60-day buffer because it's using 200 in its math. Well, the first time it runs, you actually only have 59 days left. The next cycle, it's 58, then 57. This error just keeps compounding, renewal after renewal, until one day your script fires and there is 0 buffer left. The renewal fails, and you've got an outage.
So, how do you escape this trap? The good news is, the answer isn't to build even more complicated spreadsheets. The experts give us a much simpler and much safer mandate. And here it is.
This quote just nails it. The people who get into trouble are the ones trying to optimize every last second out of a certificate's life. That whole way of thinking is a holdover from a different era. In today's world of automation, it is a recipe for disaster.
So you have two choices. You can go the hard way, try to perfectly calculate everything based on 199 or 198 and just pray you've accounted for every single edge case. Or you can go the smart way. Just renew early. Set your automation to renew at 2/3 of the certificate's lifetime and build in a nice, comfortable safety margin.
And this is the real takeaway. If you adopt a simple, strategic renewal policy, all of these complex, niggling pedantic issues, as the experts call them, they just disappear. They become completely irrelevant. You literally design the problem right out of your system.
And I want to be clear. This isn't some theoretical exercise for way off in the future. There is a very real deadline coming up that should make you want to act right now.
Here is your timeline. Your first action item is for today. Audit your automation scripts. Check the math. Because while the official ballot deadline is March 15, 2026, some CAs, like Sectigo, are starting to enforce this 3 days earlier, on March 12th. You need to be ready before they are.
So I'll leave you with this one question to take back to your team. Look at your scripts, look at your spreadsheets, and ask yourselves honestly, is our automation built on a myth? Because if it is, it's not a matter of if it will fail, it's a matter of when.